Chapter 41. The country is your solid backing. Deng Yuki glanced at Shen Jie helplessly. We are soldiers, not primitive people. All the household appliances and furniture in the dormitory are fully equipped, with one room, one living room and one bathroom, and there are soldiers standing guard and patrolling at night. In addition to special people living there, the safety of the agents and researchers from the strategy department must be guaranteed. I'll sell the house later and move into a dormitory, Shen Jie said. After Deng Yuki filled out the file, he looked at Shen Jie seriously and said, I understand what you have gone through, and I probably understand why you are like this. But whether it is mental or physical, these can be transformed through acquired transformation and become qualified warrior. However, the headquarters gave 3 reasons for rejecting your employment. In addition to these 2, there is also a third one, which is also the one with the highest rejection rate. What is it? Shen Jie asked. You have reservations about the Special Policy Department. Although this is a situation that normal people will have, it has indeed become an obstacle to your entry review. Deng Yuki said in a deep voice. Headquarters analyzed the video of you dealing with weird things on the rooftop and thought that your approach was too professional and your actions were too calm. It seems that you have been accustomed to weird things for a long time, and this is not the first time you have been exposed to weird things, as you said. But whether it is the headquarters or our branch, they have called up the surveillance of the areas where you may have been in recent years for analysis. Before the rooftop incident, there was indeed no sign that you were exposed to strange things. People from the headquarters tried to sneak into your home to search, but Deng Yuki said this. Her expression suddenly became a little weird. Shen Jie asked curiously. But what? When Shen Jie heard the words, sneak into the home to conduct a search, Shen Jie's heart tightened, but when he thought about the pen refills, hair, and dust on the door and window handles that he left on the doors and windows, there were no traces of anyone touching them. At that time, I knew that no one had entered the house in the end. If you really go in, it will be interesting to see the box under the bed. I can only say that in the final analysis, the system is too stupid, and it doesn't even have any system space. Can you watch less spy movies? Even if you use the most advanced one-time disassembly smart lock for the door lock, or the one without a safety key, you are not afraid that the lock will be broken one day and you will not be able to enter the door. Moreover, there are 3 surveillance cameras at the door, and one is hidden in a flower pot. Aren't you afraid that the neighbors next door will report you for secretly filming? That's all. There are still hairs and pen refills on the lock. A layer of dust was specially blown on the doorknob, and it was arranged regularly. Morse code was drawn on the inside with a toothpick. If I hadn't learned about this, I would have stopped it immediately. If you fail the investigation by the headquarters, you will be treated as a spy, do you know? Deng Yuki said helplessly. Shen Jie shrugged. But aren't you also preparing to break into the house to investigate? Isn't this also a violation of human rights? Although I don't want to admit it, this is also a helpless thing. Deng Yuki sighed. Shen Jie asked with great interest. If we really find out something wrong, I'm afraid the next step is to make me disappear directly from the earth? Who is responsible for taking action? The Special Policy Department? Well, don't think too darkly. After all, you have to know that the Special Strategy Department is not dealing with ordinary enemies, but strange enemies. We must ensure that every soldier who joins is innocent, at least not a spy from another country. If someone has evil intentions against the researcher, or has weird ideas about containment, this will be a huge loss to Operation Counter Cunning. But don't worry, as a guarantor, I have not asked the headquarters to continue investigating you. This is respect for you and the sincerity of the Special Policy Department in inviting you to join. In my opinion, everyone has everyone's secrets, and you are indeed a rare talent. You have not committed any criminal acts so far. Of course. You are therefore listed as a key surveillance target. This is why I am, because the head of the Special Policy Department will basically go there personally for anything related to you. If you are in a bad mood and become antisocial one day, I will have to go to jail with you. While talking, Deng Yuki took out 3 files from the table and put them on the table. I hope that one day, you can let go of your guard and tell us the answers truthfully. Shen Jie glanced at the 3 files on the table, quietly. Car, cunning mouse, cunning cat. In other words, the branch has most likely passed the test reports of these 3 files and confirmed that the same residual energy comes from Shen Jie. Shen Jie actually doesn't have a good way to deal with the situation where the use of characteristics will cause residual ghost energy, especially when the branch still has detection capabilities. Even though Shen Jie was alert after learning that the branch had the ability to detect strange energy after the strange mouse incident, unless he didn't have to move in the future, sooner or later he would be exposed. Now it seems that Deng Yuki should have known the truth after the strange mouse incident, but he has not revealed it until today. Shen Jie looked at Deng Yuki thoughtfully, and finally asked, "Why? I really want to know why you introduced me to the Special Policy Department even if you take such a big risk." Deng Yuki said in a deep voice, "Shen Jie, I don't know if you really don't know or if you are pretending to be confused. The strange situation is deteriorating faster than we imagined. 10 years ago, the first strange incident occurred in Beijing City. 6 years ago, the first strange incident occurred in Rong City. The Rong City branch was established the following year, and the following year, I was transferred to Rong City as the director. So far, a total of 4 strange incidents have occurred." After a pause, Deng Yuki continued, "In the past, there would only be 1 weird incident per year on average, but in recent years, a total of 19 weird incidents have occurred across the country, and the frequency of weird incidents is getting faster and faster. This is just our country. The situation in other countries is worse. Shen Jie, we need warriors like you who can handle strange events independently. That's why I want you to join even if you take the risk." Shen Jie nodded thoughtfully. "Look, let me just say you need me to improve your performance, right?" I said with excitement, "Is this what you were thinking of?" Deng Yuki recited calmly 10 times in his mind, suppressing the urge to jump up and beat up Shen Jie. Finally, he said with a serious face, "Chen Jie, I hope you can regard the country as your support, not as a burden." After hearing what Deng Yuki said, Shen Jie was very glad that he chose to cooperate with the Special Strategy Department and Deng Yuki from the beginning, instead of hiding and doing big things secretly. For ordinary people, like him, individuals and countries are like ants and elephants. No matter how happy the ants are below, the elephant will lose its nest. An ordinary person, unless he is completely far away from weird events, it will be difficult to say that he is secretly doing big things once he gets involved. Disguise and masks are all self-deception jokes. It is easy for the country to find the target it really wants. All Shen Jie did was psychological comfort. In fact, if the Special Strategy Department really wanted to investigate, sooner or later the arsenal under the bed would not be able to be hidden. Deng Yuki has given enough face and sincerity. Neither of them continued on this topic. It was impossible for Shen Jie to talk about the system, and it was impossible for Deng Yuki to dig into Shen Jie's secrets. This would only lead to a rift between the two parties. When you push a person with potential and strength into a desperate situation, you'd better have the consciousness to crush him to ashes. Otherwise, when he stands on the opposite side of you, or in the hostile camp, it will be a fatal hidden danger. Let's go. It'll take you to get familiar with the department, introduce the instructors and team members to you, and implement your training plan." Deng Yuki put the 3 reports into the drawer, closed the file, stood up, and walked to the door. When he reached the door, Deng Yuki suddenly stopped and turned his back to Shen Jie and asked again, 3 months after you were discharged from the hospital, a fire broke out in Rongshan Mental Hospital. A fire burned down the entire hospital. The director, the vice president and many doctors died in that disaster. Do you know about this? Chapter 42. I want to learn knife skills, a pig-killing knife. Is there such a thing? Shen Jie was surprised. Deng Yuki turned around and looked at Shen Jie, and asked with a normal expression, "You don't know about this?" Shen Jie shook his head. "Of course I don't know. If I knew, I would definitely buy a white chrysanthemum in full bloom and mourn it properly. After all, they cured my illness and made me feel energetic." "I always feel that you are a little too energetic." Deng Yuki no longer struggled with this topic and took Shen Jie to the training ground. On the way, he briefly introduced the composition of the Special Strategy Department. The only thing that was different from other departments was that the technical department was not only a logistics department, but also often accompanied the operation department. Go to the front line to work, such as detecting weird energy, handling corpses, containing weird things, etc. Deng Yuki also gave Shen Jie a confidential file from the Special Strategy Department. The headquarters divided the weirdness into different levels according to its evolutionary status. The weirdness that has just transformed into weirdness and has not yet appeared in the strange space is classified as Level 1 weirdness. However, since the individual strength of the weird before the alienation will lead to the strength after the alienation, there will be situations where the weird mouse and the weird cat are both Level 1 weird, but their combat capabilities are very different. Therefore, after a strange event occurs, the detectors from the technical department need to formulate an action level for the strange event, and then the operations department formulates a combat plan. After Level 2 and Level 3 spooks appear in the spooky space, it is much more troublesome to deal with than Level 1 spooks, and usually requires the use of spooky equipment. Because after the strange space is generated, the strangeness will pull the target into a strange space, which is isolated from reality. If you want to enter, you can only adopt the 3 methods mentioned by Deng Yuki before. In addition to letting people trapped in the weird space find out the weaknesses and rules of the weird space and crack the weird space from the inside, the most direct way is to use weird energy equipment to cause collisions and distortions in the weird space, so that people from outside can enter the weird space. However, this method obviously treats the symptoms but not the root cause, because the success rate of distortion caused by strange space collision is only higher than 70% when applied externally, and multiple attempts can be made. Once you enter the interior and want to cause a strange space collision, after testing, only those with a higher level of weird energy than the one who uses the weird space will have a success rate of less than 30%. Moreover, the duration of the distorted space and the location of entry are uncertain. This leads to the fact that the original intention is to rescue people trapped in the weird space, but using this method is equivalent to increasing the number of trapped people. Moreover, people are never human when faced with weirdness. There is an advantage in numbers, and the more people caught in it means the casualties may be greater. A Level 3 strange incident once occurred in Da'an City. After the Special Strategy Department broke open the space, the last person who went in for rescue failed to come out. Also after that incident, the Special Strategy Department formulated the Trick Energy Warrior Plan to manufacture trick energy equipment and arm elite squads with the trick energy equipment. But this plan is not easy to implement, because it is difficult to mass-produce treacherous energy equipment. Weird energy is a special kind of energy on Weird's body, which is embodied in the black mist produced during alienation. The higher the concentration of this black mist, the more it is released, which means the stronger the weird is. Weird energy is a kind of mysterious gas, visible to the naked eye. Even after Weird's death, the corpse will produce this mysterious gas. Weird will not completely die until the weird energy is completely dissipated. Since the weird corpses can accommodate weird energy, they have been processed by people from the technical department and made into various kinds of weird energy equipment. At the same time, the technical department also used weird corpses to specially create weird energy storage containers, and extracted the weird energy from the weird corpses for storage. The freezing device and black gloves that Shen Jie saw in the strange car incident were made from a third-level strange corpse that appeared in the snowfield, and the ice mist it spewed was the strange corpse, Abel. The latter was made from the skin of the first weird corpse that Deng Yuki led the team to kill since he joined the company. It was also a third-level weird. There was no need to charge the gloves. Wearing the gloves could touch some strange things without any harm. The weirdness of entities, such as the embodiment of weird energy similar to soul, in the air of weird cars and drivers. In other words, the number of weird equipment is based on the number of weird things. The Special Strategy Department hopes to have more weird equipment, but does not want weird incidents to occur frequently. This assumption itself is not tenable. This is also the reason why Deng Yuki knew that Shen Jie had problems, but still insisted on protecting him. People may not use him, but he must not be pushed to the opposite side, or even to other countries. Certainly, there is another reason. Shen Jie solved 3 strange incidents involving a strange car, a strange mouse and a strange cat without any casualties, and allowed the wrong city branch to receive the big gift of 3 strange corpses, which meant that wrong city the branch is very likely to give birth to 3 pieces of strange equipment. Although Deng Yuki didn't want to admit it, it was indeed as Shen Jie said that after he joined, he could double the performance of the Rongshi branch. This is the training ground. Currently, there are about 200 people in the Special Operations Department. Excluding dozens of non-combatants, 100 of them are special warriors from the assault team, as well as the sniper team led by Huo Yu and the support team led by Huang He team, as well as Li Shang's inspection team. In the training ground, many soldiers from the assault group are practicing fighting skills. In the distance are the gunroom and gun training ground. There are many people around with notebooks recording the training of the soldiers. Condition. The ministry has corresponding instructors for Chinese martial arts, Muay Thai, Judo, Taekwondo and various combat skills. You can choose the one that suits you, Deng Yuki said. Really? Then I want to learn sword skills, Shen Jie said. Deng Yuki frowned slightly. Sword skills? Sword skills are now generally integrated into special fighting skills. You're not talking about the sword skills of the ancient broadsword, are you? No, the knife I'm talking about is a kitchen knife, Shen Jie said seriously. Deng Yuki _I'll go to the kitchen to help you find a master later. I mean it. I'm serious too. At this time, Stallone, a middle-aged, short-haired man wearing a training camouflage uniform, tall and muscular, only one Jean-Claude Van Damme difference from Schwarzenegger, came over. Minister, is this a newcomer? Deng Yuki nodded. Yes, this is Shen Jie. You should have seen it when we were dealing with the tricky cat on Mindong Road before. Shen Jie, this is a special strategy department who is proficient in various fighting skills and is known as the Devil's Muscular Man. The Feng Cheng Shu Feng instructor is also the operations captain of the assault team. From now on, he will guide you to train and learn fighting skills. Shen Jie stretched out his hand and said politely, Instructor, please give me more advice. Brother Shen solved 3 strange incidents single-handedly. He is a man of the hour in the Special Strategy Department. He is just a little thinner. Don't worry. I have read the training plan formulated by the minister. I will definitely help you to exercise well so that you can become a member of the department as soon as possible. The elite warrior here. Feng Chengshou smiled heartily, and while shaking hands, he raised his other hand to pat Shen Jie on the shoulder, almost breaking him apart. After Feng Chengshou said hello, he said he was going to prepare clothes and equipment for training for Shen Jie, and left first. Looking at the tall figure and the pain like a broken shoulder, Shen Jie couldn't help but look at Deng Yuki and said, Boss, if you train with Stallone, you won't kill me all the time, right? Don't worry, it won't be. At best, life would be worse than death, Deng Yuki said. Deng Yuki then took Shen Jie into the gun training room. At this time, a small-headed man with a resolute face came over, stretched out his hand to Shen Jie, and said politely, Shen Jie, I have met you twice before, but you probably haven't seen me yet. I am the captain of the sniper team, Huo Yu. Welcome to join the Special Strategy Department. Oh, it's you. I would also like to thank you for that handsome shot to save the situation. Otherwise the minister might have to look for me in the belly of the tricky cat. Shen Jie stretched out his hand and said with a smile. Deng Yuki said, Huo Yu will be responsible for your firearms training in the future. Once you are proficient in firearms, you can go to the weapons depot to apply for your own firearm. Then can I get a Gatling? This guy was still thinking about his Gatling, and Deng Yuki immediately didn't want to answer the phone. If that doesn't work, I can get a Gatling gun license. I'll try to get one when I travel to a beautiful country. This may be a joke to others, but when it came out of Shen Jie's mouth, Deng Yuki silently made a note in her mind to prevent Shen Jie from actually engaging in Gatling in the future. Huo Yu silently gave a thumbs up. Brother Shen is a real man. I didn't expect that the guns he likes are so unique. Shen Jie said, Actually, I prefer tanks, but I guess driving a tank in urban areas is a bit ostentatious. I can only settle for the next best thing and choose the less ostentatious Gatling. Has anyone told you that Gatling is not very low-key? Chapter 43. Is the basement floor hot to the feet? After coming out of the gun training room, Shen Jie got familiar with the operations department under the guidance of Deng Yuki, and then took him to the technology department. When passing by the R&D room, He saw Li Shang and several people from the technology department gathered together on a transparent in front of the glass window, manipulating the octopus-like manipulator to complete some complex research and development operations. The secret room has been specially treated to resist earthquakes and explosions, and has a variety of air purification and treatment devices to prevent the leakage of strange energy or viruses when studying strange corpses. Shen Jie felt that Li Shang and the others together looked like the scene in Avengers 4 when Shi Dako controlled the machine to set gems on the Infinity Gauntlet. He leaned towards the back and curiously asked, "Is this octopus the same model as Iron Man?" "Octopus? Earth? Huh? Is that you? Have you completed the entry formalities? Welcome to join the Special Policy Department. Oh, by the way, didn't you say last time that the muscle tissue of the rat can move like a worm and fuse together? Can it heal wounds? After magnifying it 1500 times, I found that those worms were made up of many maggots put together. Because the maggots were constantly twisting, they fused together like a whole piece of meat writhing." Li Shang was a little unhappy to be interrupted from his research. Before he could say the word turtle, he turned around and saw that it was Shen Jie. His attitude immediately changed. After saying, "Welcome to join you," he immediately changed the topic to research. "Number 1, Frankenstein, there," Shen Jie said. "Today the minister gave me a brief introduction to weirdness and weird energy. I was wondering if this healing is the effect of the weird mouse's weird energy. Can it be used to make a healing medicine, or something like a band-aid, so that the healing trick can affect the wounds of other living beings? I tried your idea yesterday. You see, this is the finished product that I have specially processed to introduce the evil energy into the leech," Li Shang said as he walked to the workbench aside, opened the storage equipment on the side, and took out a palm-sized glass bottle with 2-finger-thick white leeches inside. Li Shang continued, "I tested it with white mice. Whether the mice eat it or let the leeches absorb directly to the wound, the magic energy will affect the rapid healing of the wound. The healing speed of eating is obviously faster than that of absorption. Fast. However, it is not sure whether the magic will cause the target to be cured to mutate, or even affect people, so a lot of experiments are still needed." Shen Jie held the bottle between his thumb and forefinger and looked at the leeches crawling around inside at the light. "It is a magical thing that can quickly heal wounds of living beings. If we can't find the experimental target, I'll turn around, make a wound and try the effect." "No, the Special Policy Department has clear regulations that prohibit human experiments when it is uncertain whether the mysterious energy will affect living organisms," Li Shang said regretfully. "Well, then we can only test it on mice first," Shen Jie said with the same regret. As soon as the two turned around, they saw that Deng Yuki and other staff members were already 3 meters away from them, and the expressions on their faces were full of disgust, surprise, doubt, confusion and other complex emotions like looking at a mental illness. Deng Yuki had a serious face and said in a very serious and affirmative tone, "Li Shang, if one day I am seriously injured, please let me die directly, please don't put this thing in my mouth. And inform the logistics department to draw up an agreement according to the department's new regulations. It's best not to get together if you and Shen Jie are fine." Just like that, Shen Jie, who was still unfinished, was dragged out of the research room by the back of his collar by Deng Yuki, who looked disgusted. Deng Yuki was really afraid that these two people would get together and actually carry out experiments on human beings that were strictly prohibited by the Special Policy Department. After all, one of them dared to say it and the other dared to do it. However, the largest and most tragic strange incident in the country was caused by the initial human experiment of the Strange Warrior Project. However, it is not as simple as imagined to cause the human body to mutate. After several years of research, researchers have found that the human body is extremely resistant to ghost energy. Just like when people normally inhale air, gases that are not needed by the human body will be expelled from the body, and the same is true for ghost energy. However, if the human body absorbs a large amount of high-concentration strange energy through special means, it will infinitely amplify the various basic energies and negative emotions of the human body, making people's desires completely out of control, and the body will mutate at a speed visible to the naked eye. The G-virus mutations in the crisis are no different. Of course, strange energy is not like the T-virus and G-virus, which will immediately turn into an indescribable monster once a person inhales it. Instead, it has a safe value in terms of quantity and concentration. The higher the level of weirdness, the higher the concentration of weird energy. Tests have found that if the air that a normal person inhales every day contains level 1 magic energy, the body will not undergo any changes until the air is continuously inhaled for about 30 days. The higher the level of the strange energy, the shorter the time for the mutation to occur. However, if you do not inhale the strange energy again after 2 or 3 days of inhaling the strange energy will be gradually excreted by the body. This proves that in order for magic energy to affect humans, it must meet conditions such as continuous, large amounts of intake, and high enough concentration. Moreover, magic energy is a special gas, and it is basically difficult to affect humans after being diluted by air condition. However, this is an inference made by researchers from the Special Strategy Department based on the current weird levels. No one knows whether there will be 4th, 5th, or even higher weirdnesses in the future, nor do they know what caused these weirdnesses. Could it be possible that the mysterious power spreads through the air as quickly as the virus in the movie? After listening to Deng Yuqi's popular science about human uncanny energy, Shen Jie frowned and thought for a while, then asked out of curiosity, "Minister, you said that the human body rejects uncanny energy, but uncanny corpses can store uncanny energy. Do you think so? Is it possible for the human body to transplant cells, internal organs, and limbs with strange energy, and then use these parts to control the strange energy? Is this the alienated person that is common in novels?" At this moment, Deng Yuqi's decision to prohibit Shen Jie and Li Shang from getting together became even more firm. "You'd better stop this idea. What do you think? Do you think no one will study it?" The headquarters once thought of this plan. But a soldier who volunteered to participate in the experiment was devoured by strangeness and turned into a pile of flesh and blood monsters. That weird disaster is the only level 4 weird event so far. Deng Yuqi said with a heavy face. The disaster destroyed a research institute, and the place is still blocked so far. We also lost several pieces of treachery equipment and hundreds of soldiers, which also greatly weakened our ability to resist treachery. In that place after that, the headquarters strictly prohibited human research on mysterious energy. Hearing this, Shen Jie frowned slightly, and couldn't help but think of a certain missing security uncle. According to the system prompts, Lao Wang was a level 5 weird, 3 heads and 6 arms. If the conditions for human mutation are harsh, and the mutation will lead to loss of control, then why did Lao Wang become strange, and where is he now? Deng Yuqi and Shen Jie talked about the secrets of the Special Policy Department, and took him to visit the Equipment Research and Development Room of the Technology Department, the Weird Energy Testing Room, and the underground closed area, where weird things are detained. Warn. The host is so bold that he dares to break into the strange headquarters alone. There are a large number of high-level mysterious spaces here, and the collision of different mysterious spaces has caused space distortion. If you enter with the host's current strength, your fate will be reversed in a blink of an eye. You will be helpless, unable to escape, and in danger of death. Please cherish your life and stay away from high-level pollution areas immediately. Warn. Then, Deng Yuqi saw Shen Jie coming in and out of the basement entrance. "What's wrong with you? Is the floor in the basement hot for your feet?" Deng Yuqi couldn't bear it when she saw Shen Jie's strange behavior. The host is both wise and brave, and is unstoppable. He knows that there is a strange headquarters ahead, but he goes forward bravely regardless of his own safety. With the invincible momentum of one man standing in front of a barrier and 10,000 people unable to break it, he is not afraid of danger and bravely rushes into the strange headquarters in the face of danger. He enters and exits 3 times in a place where there is no mystery. Reward system points x100, x3. 300 system points are obtained. Shen Jie said a little shyly. "This is not the first time for me to go to such a strange place, so I am a little nervous." Deng Yuqi. "Are you nervous? Do you want me to make you nervous by showing you the video of you chasing a sly rat all over the street with an iron cage in the market? Then why don't you go? It's you who clamored to come and take a look at the place where weird things are kept. Go." Underground Strange Asylum of the Special Policy Department was much larger than Shen Jie had imagined. Among the hundreds of specially treated sealed rooms, only the first few contained the strange ones. But what surprised Shen Jie the most was that the strange thing sealed in the first containment room was a system certified level 4, characteristic, strange. Chapter 44. Level 4 Weirdness. Characteristic, never forget. Warn. 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 The host is approaching level 4 weirdness, characteristic. Don't forget. The host's current attributes are absolutely unmatchable. Please leave this area quickly and don't lose your life in vain. There is a 1-meter-high cylindrical platform in the center of the secret room behind bulletproof glass. There is a silver tray on top of the platform, which is similar to a booth. The plate was full of blood, which had seeped out of the plate and flowed all over the floor. It gathered at the drain in the corner and flowed into the processed storage container. In the center of the plate is a lump of pig brains? This brain seems to be still alive, beating slightly like a heart, and looks very scary. But just a bunch of brains, isn't this an opponent? Shen Jie felt that the system was insulting him, so he immediately rolled up his sleeves and wanted to go into the containment room to challenge that brain. But unfortunately, he couldn't get in without the password. Seeing Shen Jie looking at the brain, Deng Yuki said, "If you pay attention to the news, there was a serious explosion in a fireworks factory in the southern suburbs in 2019 that killed more than a dozen people. In fact, it was an alienated second-level strange intruder. Entering the factory, the strange truth turns out to be a wild boar. The soldiers who were pulled into the strange space by it were all brain dead in the end. In order to avoid casualties, I applied to the headquarters to use a missile to raise the factory to the ground. People in the technical department discovered that its brain was the source of the alienation, so it has been sealed here since it was taken out. It's really a genuine pig brain flower." Shen Jie leaned in front of the glass window and observed with interest, and asked casually, "Have you studied its mysterious effect?" Deng Yuki said, "According to the reports conducted by the technical department on animals, it is a kind of trick energy that stimulates the brain. Before the trick power dissipates, the animals participating in the experiment will clearly remember the actions and instructions taught to it by the researcher. But once the trick power dissipates," Deng Yuki said, "the experimental subject will soon be brain dead. It should taste very good if you make it into roasted brains," Shen Jie commented. Deng Yuki was used to being unable to keep up with Shen Jie's brain circuit, and said calmly, "Sorry, stir-fried liver and waste is the limit of local food I can accept. I can't imagine the taste of this thing in the mouth. One more thing, this is weird, it's not an ordinary pig brain. Aren't you afraid of dying if you eat it? Besides, the pig brain after the mutation is very similar to the human brain. Can you really eat it? The most you can say before eating is, Hakuna Matata, I want to eat roasted brains. Why don't you give me this one?" "Hey, where are you going?" Shen Jie said. Deng Yuki said without looking back, "Go and arrange 2 psychological counselors for you." Shen Jie said seriously, "I don't think it's necessary. As a quasi-psychiatrist who almost takes the qualification exam, I often do psychological consultations at home in front of the mirror. Don't worry, I'm in good spirits." Deng Yuki silently wrote down the plan to arrange a psychiatrist for Shen Jie in a small notebook and listed it as the top priority of the training plan. Shen Jie asked, "By the way, if I join the research department, can I apply to conduct research on this thing?" Not only researchers, but actually every elite agent in the team is eligible to apply for control of a certain weird corpse for use in making weird energy equipment, extracting weird energy, etc. But the premise is that the technical department has already analyzed the weird corpse. There is a reasonable solution and it will not cause harm to the human body. The reason why this brain is placed here is because so far, all experimental subjects have suffered from brain death. In this case, do I dare to approve its use as a treacherous equipment? Deng Yuki looked at Shen Jie and continued. According to the regulations of the Special Strategy Department, as long as the elite agents bring back 2 strange corpses during the counter-terrorism operation, they have the right to handle one of them independently. And because of you, the Special Strategy Department 3 weirdos have already been contained, so you already have the right to deal with one weirdie on your own. That? Shen Jie's eyes lit up. Deng Yuki said with a normal expression. But not now, at least until I am sure that you will not make it into roasted brains. Eat it. And die suddenly at home the next day. I will not approve you to dispose of any weird corpses. Research, transformation and other applications. You are discriminating. Although Shen Jie really wanted to eat it, he did not eat it himself, but let the system eat it, so as to avoid the side effects of brain death. Deng Yuki said, but you can apply for finished trick equipment. Real? Then I want a freezing device and a pair of treacherous gloves. Can. So refreshing, Minister. You won't like me, right? Although I joined the Special Policy Department, at most you can only get my body, but not my soul. You can only choose one of the two items. I am sorry, I was wrong. Shen Jie bowed 90 degrees with a sincere attitude. As long as I apologized quickly enough, punishment would not be able to catch up with me. The freezing device stores a large amount of deception energy. You are not allowed to take it out of the technical department at will when it is not necessary to conduct deception operations. As for the deception energy gloves, I will ask the Combat Readiness Department to transfer them to you directly later, Deng Yuki said. Although the magic gloves can basically be said to be Deng Yuki's exclusive equipment, she believes that this thing can have a greater effect on Shen Singer. After all, this guy's brains can't catch up even if he drives a Mercedes-Benz, so he might be able to develop a new way to use the magic gloves. As the two of them talked, they continued to walk into the underground containment area. In the second room, there was a crow exuding black air. Staring at it with a pair of red eyes, they suddenly felt creepy and sweaty. According to the system prompts, this is a level 1 weird thing. It was level 1 4 years ago, and it's still level 1 4 years later. Tisk, rubbish. Shen Jie withdrew his gaze and looked at the third room. An old acquaintance, a car that was burned into a frame. In the fourth room, there is a strange rat that is 1 meter long excluding the tail, furry, and exuding black mist. Wait, is this a trick mouse? Wasn't it dissected by Li Shang? Can it still survive if it's broken into parts? Shen Jie asked, slightly surprised. Deng Yuki replied. After Li Shang extracted the magic energy, he suddenly wondered if the body could be resurrected by its healing power when he pieced it together. As a result, he was really alive. It's really weird. Shen Jie sighed. The fifth room contains the corpse of the mysterious cat. These 5 weird corpses are the only ones left in our department now? Shen Jie asked. Deng Yuki asked. You still think it's too little? No, I want to say that the brain must be left to me, Shen Jie said seriously. Deng Yuki do not want to talk. Hey, don't go. Shen Jie followed Deng Yuki out of the underground closed area. According to his idea, he first sneaked into the technical department, and then applied to study the weird pig brain, and found an opportunity to let the system swallow it up, so he said research failure burns. But the premise is that no one robs it before him. After coming out of the technical department, Deng Yuki originally wanted to contact her assistant Xiao Zhang to take Shen Jie to the logistics department to get uniforms and certificates, but she thought she was on the way, so she took Shen Jie there directly. It was the first time for people in the logistics department to see Deng Yuki personally bring someone to pick up things. When they heard the word Shen Jie, they realized that the handsome guy in front of them was a master who had solved 3 strange incidents on his own before joining the special strategy department. The logistics department immediately became confused. Several little girls were so fascinated that they were dizzy. Brother Shen, do you live in the dormitory? What are Brother Shen's usual hobbies? Brother Shen, do you play games? Brother Shen. Deng Yuki looked at the 3 little girls surrounding Shen Jie, coughed a few times, and decided to save the 3 little girls who were inexperienced in the world. You must not be deceived by appearances, Minister. Do you feel uncomfortable in your throat? Minister, drink some hot water. Minister, sit down and rest. 3 little ones. The one who pours the water, and the one who holds the chair. Minister, you are still here. These words were said by Shen Jie. Deng Yuki. Get out. After Shen Jie made a joke, he picked up his ID and looked at it. The photo was taken before his mental evaluation in the morning. He looked very energetic. Special Incident Management and Safety Countermeasures Department. Police number asterisk 9320 Wrong City District Elite Agent Shen Jie. Shen Jie held up the ID in his hand and raised it to Deng Yuki and said, "Do you think the next time I meet those guys who don't have long eyes, can I just slap the ID on their face like in the novel?" Deng Yuki said expressionlessly, "Theoretically, it's possible. Your position in the system almost corresponds to that of Deputy Director of the Municipal Bureau." "Am I so awesome?" Shen Jie raised his eyebrows. Deng Yuki said with a wooden face, "No, the word Special Policy Department is more powerful. Okay, you're the boss and you have the final say. Want to hit someone?" Chapter 45. Rating Improvement, Characteristics and Capabilities Evolution? Shen Jie opened the packaged Elite Agent combat uniform and found that it was a black camouflage suit with a body armor. "Hey, it seems different from the combat uniforms that Instructor Feng, Huo and the others wore before?" Shen Jie looked at the minister and asked curiously. "Because they are not elite agents." "Oh, there are a few elite agents in that department. Counting the four of you, one is me. One was injured and transferred to a civilian position for training at the headquarters, and the other has taken over the investigation task and is currently abroad," Deng Yuki said. Shen Jie picked up the clothes, tried them on, and said casually, "The Special Policy Department is really depleted of talent. Even you, the minister, had to go to the front line." Deng Yuki sighed. "Dealing with the weirdness in the weird space is not as simple as you think. So far, I don't know how you solved the second-level weirdness on the rooftop, and how you survived the weird car incident. Because of these two strange incidents, you have been promoted to an elite agent and are qualified to handle strange incidents independently. In addition to being fast, what dangers does that car have?" Shen Jie asked curiously. Deng Yuki said helplessly, "Is there a possibility that in that kind of terrifying and depressing environment, it itself is a kind of danger?" "Oh, I haven't watched enough ghost movies," Shen Jie said seriously. "Calm down. If you recruit people yourself, you can't blame others." Shen Jie put the black camouflage uniform on his body, changed the topic, and asked with a solemn and serious expression, "Humph, do you know what it means when I put on this clothes?" "Meaning that you will be an elite warrior?" The serious look on his face made Deng Yuki become serious. Sure enough, in front of this combat uniform, even the most unserious person would become serious. "No, it means I will be the most handsome boy in the department." Deng Yuki closed the door and left the logistics department without looking back. After receiving the equipment, Shen Jie reported to the operations department. Although he was rated as an elite agent, due to his combat skills and weak physique, he was equivalent to an intern, so his daily job was to accept Instructor Feng Chengxia's training arrangements. After getting the training schedule, Shen Jie had the idea of resigning on the first day he joined the company. 8:30 10:30, physical training 10:30 11 o'clock, rest 11 o'clock 12:30, basic fighting skills. 12:30 13:30, lunch plus lunch break 13:30 15:30, special fighting skills. 15:30 1600, rest 1600 18:30, firearms training. 18:30 19:30, dinner plus rest 19:30 21:30, special combat skills, gojutsu or other. 21:30, off-duty. Shen Mo, who joined the job with 7 days off a week. "Wait a minute, this overtime is even more outrageous than me being a social beast," Shen Jie wailed. Stallone laughed heartily, patted Shen Jie on the shoulder and said, "Xiao Shen, you are good at everything, but your physique is a little too bad. As a man, you can't do without a strong physique. This is your training uniform. I have prepared 3 new sets for you. Put them on and start today's physical training. I want to resign. Please call us if you want to save the world or something. Goodbye." Before Shen Jie could say anything, Feng Chengxiu and a soldier took him to the training ground and started the first day of physical training. Due to time constraints, Shen Jie's physical training this morning only lasted for an hour before lunchtime, but even this made Shen Jie clearly realize that his training routine in the past few days was simply child's play, because he went from the combat department to the canteen. Feng Chengxiu and Huo Yu carried him through this section of the road. Shen Jie's legs were trembling until he sat on the stool. "Old Shen, what do you want to eat?" You look like you don't have the energy to make a meal. I'll call you whatever you like, Huo Yu asked. Feng Chengshou is 10 years older than Shen Jie, and Shen Jie is 3 years older than Huo Yu. Therefore, among the two people who knew each other well, Shen Jie became Little Shen and Old Shen. Just give me a portion of what you have. Shen Jie lay on the table and said weakly. Good. Huo Yu responded and went to get food with Feng Chengshou. Hey, isn't this the most handsome boy in the special policy department? Why is he paralyzed here? At this time, Deng Yuqi's voice sounded from the side. No appointment. Shen Jie turned away and faced Deng Yuqi with the back of his head. Deng Yuqi sat down opposite Shen Jie with a meal and said with a smile. This is a training plan specially designed for you. Believe me, you will have the physique of a normal person in less than a month. Thank you, I'll treat you to roasted brains when we go to the night market, Shen Jie said with a smile. Deng Yuqi's expression froze. She recalled seeing the beating pig brain in the underground closed room in the morning, and suddenly felt that the mapo tofu on the dinner plate was no longer fragrant. Hey, Minister, is it so early today? At this time, Huo Yu and Feng Chengshou came over with several plates. Deng Yuqi picked up the dinner plate and stood up. I haven't finished the work yet, but I'm just a little hungry. I'm going to make some food first. I'm afraid I'll forget about it after a while. You guys eat slowly. After saying that, he was about to leave with the dinner plate in hand. Before leaving, he suddenly stopped and looked at Feng Chengshou and said, Oh, by the way, Instructor Feng, Agent Shen said that the intensity of training in the department is a bit weak, and he feels sorry for his elite agents. Identity, I think you need to strengthen your efforts. Feng Chengshou was called and immediately stood up straight, promised to complete the task. Before Shen Jie could protest, he saw Feng Chengshou sitting next to him, patting his shoulder and saying excitedly, Xiao Shen is indeed an elite agent who was promoted through promotion. In order to be able to participate in the department's counter-terrorism operations as soon as possible, I have to intensify training under such circumstances. I admire you, I admire you. No, Wait. Shen Jie suddenly realized something, sat up straight and looked at Feng Chengshou in surprise. I can't participate in the ministry's counter-terrorism operation yet? Feng Chengshou replied, Yes, the minister considered that your physique is too weak and took the most intense training program in the ministry. However, if you train according to the plan every day, your body will be in a state of fatigue and high load, and I am worried about you. Injured in action. So during this 1-month training period, you will not participate in any counter-terrorism operations. Huo Yu echoed. Don't worry, the frequency of weird incidents is not that high. These few times are considered special cases in the ministry. Shen Jie. Then I added loneliness. Originally he joined the Special Strategy Department with the idea of fishing in troubled waters and swallowing some weird corpses when participating in counter-terrorism operations. But he can't participate in this month, so it's useless. Oh, etc. It seems that with my trick-attracting physique, it's not up to them to decide whether there will be any weird incidents. However, after lunch, Shen Jie went to Deng Yuqi to discuss changing the training schedule, shortening the rest time and training time, and squeezing out 2 hours in the afternoon for him to go out for a walk. The reason is also very simple. Nowadays, the frequency of weird events is much higher than in previous years. He has a special, trick-attracting physique. Anyway, it is better to go out and walk around to nip possible weird events in the cradle and prevent them from growing to a high level, leading to uncontrollable disasters. Deng Yuqi thought that what Shen Jie said made sense. In addition, Shen Jie, as an elite agent, had inherent privileges. If his physical condition was not so poor, he wouldn't have had to arrange such a long training time in a day. When Shen Jie handed over the new training form to Feng Chengshou, the instructor was so moved that he fell to the ground. He didn't expect that Shen Jie would still take time to patrol in the face of such intense training. He is indeed an elite who cares about the peace and prosperity of the country. Admire with all my heart. Looking at Feng Chengshou's expression of admiration, Shen Jie immediately wondered if there was something wrong with this big brother, but due to Stallone's physique, he didn't dare to ask in the end. After 2 hours of basic fighting skills instruction in the afternoon, Shen Jie lay paralyzed in the lounge for half an hour. At this moment, A system prompt sounded in his mind. The host rating has been upgraded to level 1, and the characteristics, silent and immovable, have evolved. Chapter 46. Your drinking capacity is so high in the Northeast that even the dog table will be disgusted with it. Hearing the system prompts, Shen Jie sat up from the rest chair with a pop sound. His fatigue was gone. The system finally got the hang of it. Are you willing to upgrade your rating? Shen Jie opened the panel and took a look. As expected, the column rating none turned into rating level 1. It seems that Stallone's basic combat teaching is quite good. After just half a day of study, the system rating was improved. Having said that, Shen Jie has continued to exercise this week, and his 3 basic attributes have improved by more than 10 compared to the beginning. Combined with the combat skills that he is not good at, the rating has naturally been improved. However, compared to ratings and attributes, Shen Jie is most concerned about the characteristics of evolution. Characteristics. Silent. After use, it can enter a silent state, consuming 0.5% energy per second, and can be activated at the same time as other features. It consumes 10% to 100%. Related to the size of the sound emitted by the object. To attach mental power to the object. Even if the object is taken away, it will remain silent for a certain period of time. Immobile. When the user is in the stationary state, the user can control the shadow to restrain the target that is also in the stationary state. According to the target's rating, quantity and distance, the maximum distance does not exceed 10 meters. Every second the mental power consumed is different, 10% to 100%. When the user uses immobile to control the target, he or she can control whether to pull the target into the immobile, treacherous space. In the non-strange space state, the restraint effect will still take effect. Seeing the 2 characteristics after evolution, Shen Jie's first reaction was that there were too many words. Secondly, silence can be used to remove items, which is equivalent to adding a silencer to a grenade as long as enough spiritual power is injected into it. It may seem useless, but in fact it has a lot of room for manipulation. For example, if a grenade is released silently, there is no need to expend a lot of mental energy to make the explosion silent. Just letting the grenade land and roll silently is enough to give the enemy a big surprise. Furthermore, immobile can restrain the target in a non-strange space state, and will not make the target disappear, so you can cooperate with your teammates. For example, when Deng Yuki, Huo Yu and others were about to shoot, they saw the opportunity to immobilize the monster. As for exposure. Did I use my ability? When did I use my abilities? What if the enemy checks me 3 times a day during the battle and becomes distracted? In general, although the evolution of the 2 characteristics is not particularly large, it has a lot of room for manipulation. System. If the rating is improved, will the evolved characteristics continue to evolve? Shen Jie asked. After the host obtains the official rating, level 1, each time the rating is improved, the host will receive 1 characteristic evolution point, which can evolve a characteristic. Why did 2 characteristics evolve this time? First, rating benefits. It's a shame you didn't tell me earlier. If you told me earlier, I would develop 10 or 8 features first, and then complete the first rating. Wouldn't it be possible to upgrade 10 features at a time? Shen Jie was speechless. The system is even more speechless. Do you think your personality is like the cabbage in the vegetable market? Level 1. Does it mean I can go to Tom's Mall for a walk? Shen Jie was still thinking about his level 7 weirdness. Judging from the experience during this period, if the weirdness in Tom's Mall will be level 7 in 4 years, it will at least start at level 3 or 4 now. However, this also made Shen Jie very strange. It was really weird at the 3rd or 4th level, so there must have been casualties by now. Why didn't he hear any news? Thinking of this, Shen Jie decided to use tomorrow's patrol time to go to Tom's Mall for a walk. At the end of the break, Shen Jie went to the firearms training room to find Huo Yu and started the first day of firearms training. Firearms training is much lighter on the body than physical fitness and fighting. However, Shen Jie received basic fighting training in the afternoon. His hands were shaking like Parkinson's. Huo Yu could only teach him some basic knowledge first. After talking about the basics, it's time to practice. Huo Yu first demonstrated shooting skills to Shen Jie with a pistol. The 5th-generation Glock 17, the standard model, is equipped with a 17-round large-capacity magazine, and with 9mm parabellum bullets. It has a strong continuous shooting capability. Its muzzle velocity is about 370 meters per second, and its theoretical rate of fire is at about 450 to 550 rounds per minute. It is known as the AK-47 in the pistol world. As he spoke, Huo Yu held the gun, raised his hand, took aim, and fired, firing 17 rounds in one go. Each bullet accurately hit the red target. Shen Jie sighed that he was worthy of being the #1 sniper in the department. His shooting skills were really good. "Would you like to teach me the gun shaking technique, by the way?" Shen Jie said expectantly. "Huh?" Huo Yu was confused when he heard this. Shen Jie said, "It's the skill in those movies and novels where the bullets can bend if you shake the gun. As the saying goes, if you want to use the gun at the starting point, if you don't shake it, the bullets will not bend or scatter. It's not easy in this world. Did you say you can shoot?" Huo Yu held it in for a long time and finally said, "Old Shen, watch less movies." "What about gunfighting, melee shooting?" Shen Jie asked. Huo Yu said, "It does exist, but it is also integrated into special fighting skills, but it is not as useful as you think. For example, if the enemy holds a gun and fights you in close combat, you only need to find an opportunity to hold it with your hand. If the area is too high, he won't be able to shoot. Keep it here again, press it, pull it, and buckle it, and you can remove the bolt. If you do this again, and then again, the gun will be useless. So if you really want to fight at close range, the lethality of a dagger or a saber is definitely more powerful than too big as a pistol. However, if combined with the Mozambique shooting technique, continuous shooting at the target's head and heart before the enemy approaches, focusing on shooting rather than fighting, the actual combat of this gun fighting technique is for every special core combat skills that warriors need to master." Shen Jie nodded thoughtfully. "Away from 7 steps, the gun is fast, and within 7 steps, the gun is accurate and fast. I understand this." "That's about it." Huo Yu had a complicated expression. He finally understood why the minister patted his shoulder and said sincerely, "Calm down," when he told him that he was responsible for Shen Jie's firearms training. It's best to treat Shen Jie every time. Treat every sentence as rubbish. This brain circuit is something that most people can't keep up with. Shen Jie tried to use a gun for the first time in his life under the guidance of Huo Yu, and found that it was more difficult to operate than he thought. The first thing is the recoil. Even though Shen Jie was prepared for it, the shock made his arm hurt the first time he tried it. The second is accuracy. This made Shen Jie understand once again that movies are all lies. It is impossible for ordinary people to pick up a gun and hit it with a single shot. Especially with a Glock 17, you can instantly experience the joy of heaven. Then Shen Jie also asked Huo Yu to teach him the technique of dismantling the opponent's gun in battle just now. Seeing Huo Yu's smooth movements, Shen Jie tried it himself. 17 shots were fired. For the 18th time, Huo Yu was finally unable to fire the first shot. After 2 hours of gun training, Shen Jie's Parkinson's disease became more serious. Fortunately, today is Shen Jie's first day of joining the job. The evening training was cancelled. Feng Chengshou and Huo Yu took some soldiers from the department and held a welcome banquet for Shen Jie in the cafeteria. Shen Jie looked at the big bowl in front of him and the full bowl of white wine, with a slightly subtle expression. "What, you are an instructor, can you still drink in the department?" "Oh, everyone here is from Team 1. It's Team 2's turn to be on duty this week, so I can drink a little." Feng Chengshou seemed to be using the welcome banquet as a way to reward the drunkards. Shen Jie looked at the bowl in front of him that was bigger than his fist. "This counts as a little bit? Instructor Feng, do you have any misunderstanding about a little bit? In our place, drinking less than 3 bowls is not considered drinking. Come on, everyone welcomes Brother Shen to join the Special Policy Department. Let's do it." Feng Chengshou drank a bowl of wine in one bold gulp and turned the bowl over to signal, "It's all drunk inside." Feng Chengshou took the lead, and all the soldiers followed him and drank it all in one gulp. Seeing this, Shen Jie could only drink it down in one gulp, and then burped. This was the first time in these years that he drank so much wine in one go. Seeing that Feng Chengshou was about to pour more for him, he quickly waved his hand. Instructor Feng, I really can't drink anymore. Don't worry, we can only drink 3 bowls at most. There are rules in the ministry. You can have a small drink on rest days, but it must not affect the work of the next day. We all remember this. Feng Cheng became a monk. Shen Jie felt a little shaky. Feng Chengshou frowned. No, Xiao Shen, your drinking capacity is not good. If you were in the northeast, you would be disgusted by all the dogs. Shen Jie slammed his head on the table. For a moment, the whole place was silent. Feng Zhao, your wine was poisoned? Chapter 47. Level 7 Weirdness. Characteristic? Intangible? Shen Jie woke up in the dormitory of the Special Policy Department the next day with only 2 thoughts in his mind. One was that people from the northeast are really good drinkers, and the other was that liquor is really good at helping sleep. However, it can be seen that the wine Feng Chengshou brought out to treat him should not be bad. After 1 bowl, he didn't have a hangover headache the next day. Shen Jie took a shower with the disposable toiletries prepared in the room, put on clean training clothes and went to the combat department playground. Then he saw the people at yesterday's welcome banquet, running circles together. Yo, Xiao Shen, wake up. Yesterday you poured a glass of wine, and they all said I poisoned your wine. Feng Chengshou, who was running at the front, greeted Shen Jie with a smile. Shen Jie. Mr. Stallone, do you have any misunderstanding about the word cup? When you drink liquor out of a cup, do you mean a beer cup? I am sorry, I rarely drink. In the past, when I saw clients, my colleagues helped me to block them, which made you laugh, Shen Jie replied. It's okay, I'll exercise more in the future. Feng Chengshou and others didn't care, so they joked with Shen Jie about his ridiculously poor drinking capacity. Isn't it time to train yet? Shen Jie asked curiously, seeing the trend of everyone not stopping. If everyone had started training, naturally he couldn't be idle either. Feng Chengshou replied, Oh, the minister heard that we knocked you down yesterday and said that we bully the newcomers and run 10 kilometers before starting training. Well, Shen Jie was very embarrassed. After all, the bull yesterday was not really considered as filling in the eyes of these people, so he silently followed the team and started running. Shen Jie chatted with his comrades and ran while opening log and daily to check today's tasks. On January 9, 2028, when you returned from the mission, you brought the corpse of the level 2 spooky cat back to the organization and received a reward. You were officially promoted to an elite squad leader. You can independently form an exploration team and go out to explore during non-mission periods and resource collection. Weekly mission. Under the Doomsday, weirdness is rampant. Your rating has been improved. In order to become stronger faster, you need to adapt as soon as possible and fight weirdly. If you hunt down a level 2 weirdo within a week, you will be rewarded with system points x300, random F-level recovery items x3, and free attribute points by 10%. After the rating is improved, daily becomes weekly. Shen Jie does not need to complete tasks every day. It is more free and the rewards are increased. Shen Jie added 1% of the free points of the daily reward to his spirit, and when he got the whole number of 180% of his spirit, he had 401 system points, which could be drawn 4 times. But you definitely can't smoke it now, not to mention based on past experience, the 4 opportunities are probably just to visit the supermarket and expand the level of the arsenal under the bed. Save up 10 companies, perhaps 10 consecutive transshipments? Shen Jie completed the morning training under the guidance of Feng Chengshou. After lunch, he had 2 hours of free time. Shen Jie went home, changed his clothes, and took a taxi to Tom Mall. Since it is not the weekend, there are not many people around Tom's Mall. The grass in the distance is empty and there are no people walking their dogs. Shen Jie failed to trigger any random events from the time he got off the bus to the entrance of the mall. Just as he was about to step through the door, a familiar red light flashed past. Warn, but this time, only one warning appeared. The host is about to enter the strange lair of level 7, which has been covered by the strange domain. If the host enters with the current strength, his life will be reversed. He will be helpless and unable to escape. Please cherish your life and stay away from the special pollution area immediately. The 10-death situation has turned into 9-death situation. It seems that he has indeed become stronger during this period. Shen Jie stepped into the mall gate and then exited. Well, no reward. However, after the rating is upgraded to level 1, the system's novice protection mode has been turned off, and you can enter the supermarket smoothly. Brother, it's you again. It's been a week and you still haven't decided what to buy in the mall. It's really hard to make a decision. You can go in and browse before making a decision. You don't need tickets anyway. The security guard next to him recognized Shen Jie at a glance as a weirdo who had been walking in and out of the mall before, but didn't get in the end. What you said, security uncle, makes sense. Tom's Shopping Mall is the largest shopping mall in Dongcheng District. It has a supermarket on the first floor, luxury goods on the first floor, clothing on the second floor, and all kinds of food on the third floor. Shen Jie thought he would have to walk around the mall to find clues, but he didn't go far. When he reached the escalator leading to the first negative floor, a system prompt rang in his mind. Warn. The host is close to the 7th level of weird, invisible. With the host's current strength, there is absolutely no way it can be its opponent. Please stop seeking death immediately and leave the strange realm. It's weird in the supermarket. After confirming the location of the weird thing, Shen Jie was even more surprised that the 7th level weird characteristic turned out to be invisible. Literally speaking, it should have no form. But there are many ways to say it doesn't have form. It's like, is it something like slime? Or is it invisible at all? If it's the former, based on the 4-year time difference, it can be inferred that the current weirdness is at least level 3 or 4. It's impossible that no one will notice it, if it's the latter. That's a bit difficult to handle. Shen Jie stood at the elevator entrance, lost in thought. At this moment, a little girl's voice came from behind. Uncle, are you afraid of taking the elevator alone? Shen Jie looked back and saw a pair of young parents taking a 4 or 5-year-old girl to the mall. He happened to block them from taking the elevator. Sorry. Shen Jie stepped aside. The man said, it's okay. And then he and his wife took the little girl onto the elevator. The little girl lay on the man's shoulder and made an encouraging gesture to Shen Jie. Uncle, be brave. Okay, thank you. Shen Jie responded with a smile. Then he withdrew his gaze and looked across the elevator towards the supermarket area below. Since it was past 1 in the afternoon, there were not many people shopping in the mall. At present, everything is normal in the supermarket. Shen Jie took the escalator down to the supermarket on the first floor and observed the surroundings, trying to determine the invisible location by finding some abnormal phenomena. But after walking around, Shen Jie didn't find any useful information, nor did he receive any weird notifications from the system. There is no other way. Shen Jie can only activate his special skill, start the consultation mode with a smile, trying to find clues from the conversation with the supermarket ant. With a face that looks like a rich woman, a nice voice, and experience in the wet market, even if Shen Jie only asks but doesn't buy, she won't arouse the resentment of the supermarket ant. Chatted all the way from the snack area and the wine area to the cooked food area. Although Shen Jie didn't ask for any useful information, he liked to bring a large bag of tasting products. The bald middle-aged man on the side looked at it with envy and kept lamenting that this is indeed a world where faces are judged. Shen Jie came to the last stop in the supermarket area. The family of 3 who had blocked the elevator before were picking out fish, and finally bought a turbot for the little girl. Handsome guy, what do you want? The waiter in the seafood area looked at Shen Jie and asked. Shen Jie said, let's make 2 crucian carp stew. Okay. Do you like these 2 lines? The uncle asked. Can. Shen Jie took advantage of his uncle to kill fish and wandered around the seafood, and asked casually, isn't uncle's seafood business good recently? The local and domestic ones are all selling pretty well, but the foreign ones are not doing well, especially the ones from Sakura country. They can't be sold at all now. The uncle complained as he killed the fish. Shen Jie joked. I'm probably afraid that if I buy it and boil it in a pot, I'll turn into a monster that eats the pot. Haha, like that old movie. What's it called? Oh, Resident Evil. Right. Those guys who had a good life in childhood don't know if they don't want to live anymore. Can you arrange those things at will? Hey, the seafood in Sakura country is not easy to sell, and some of them are easy to die. A few days ago, the boss got angry and ordered those who are dying or are about to die will be removed from the shelves immediately. Cheap treatment? Shen Jie asked. The uncle shook his head. How can you? After all, it belongs to Sakura country. You can't smash our Tom's sign, take it away and dispose of it. I don't know how to dispose of it. Come on, get your fish. Thank you. Shen Jie took the processed crucian carp and walked around again, but found nothing suspicious. But after a round of investigation, he was able to confirm that the strangeness had not left Tom, otherwise he would not have been alerted when he entered the mall. Intangible. Is it really invisible to the naked eye? Shen Jie thought that the Special Strategy Department had a device specifically designed to detect spooky energy. He took out his mobile phone and dialed Deng Yuki's number. Chapter 48. Draw your sword. Leg spirit. After answering the phone, Shen Jie was ruthlessly interrupted by Deng Yuki before she could finish saying, hello. Wait, please let me slow down first. In the office, Deng Yuki held the phone in one hand and rubbed his forehead with the other. I was still a little dazed during my lunch break, but when I heard Shen Jie's voice, I immediately became too. This feeling was like she was sleeping soundly. Shen Jie suddenly kicked open the door of the office and ran over to ride on her. He pinched her neck and shook her vigorously, yelling, go to sleep, wake up and get high. Don't tell me you got into trouble again. Deng Yuki's voice was full of helplessness about life. Shen Jie's emotional voice came from the other end of the phone. My parents are the ones who gave birth to me, and the minister is the one who knows me. What's the situation now? Deng Yuki received Shen Jie's affirmative reply, and her expression suddenly became serious. She pressed the hotline on her desk and called her assistant in to stand by. Shen Jie thought for a while and asked, Minister, what is the highest level of weird energy that our Special Strategy Department's weird energy detector can detect? Level 2. Deng Yuki replied. Shen Jie frowned. Only level 2? Is there still a need for deception detectors above level 2? Deng Yuki asked rhetorically. Shen Jie thought about it. Level 1 weirdness is like a big ball of coal. Level 2 weirdness can affect a street. Although level 3 weirdness has not been seen yet, the coverage of the black mist of weird energy must have reached the point where no weird energy is needed. The detector can detect it. But unfortunately, the invisible situation was too special. Shen Jie even suspected that not only was it intangible, but even its supernatural power was intangible. Otherwise, Shen Jie would wander around the invisible lair, and there would be no reason why he wouldn't be able to find any clues. I am in the supermarket area on the first floor of Tom Mall in Dongcheng District. I haven't found anything weird so far, but I suspect there may have been something weird here, Shen Jie said. Deng Yuki frowned slightly. Are there any other discoveries? There is none at the moment. If there is one, there is no need to ask about the occult energy detector. Shen Jie replied honestly. Deng Yuki said in a deep voice. Are you just suspicious? Yes, Minister, do you believe my judgment? Shen Jie's tone revealed a rare seriousness. Although Deng Yuki and Shen Jie have known each other for only a week, she knows that Shen Jie generally does not joke about weird things. Believe it. What's more, when it comes to strange events, it's better to believe that they exist than to believe that they don't. The existence of the Special Strategy Department is to eliminate and solve strange events. After a pause, Deng Yuki continued. I asked the technical department to send a few inspectors over. Do you need combatant assistance? Hearing that Deng Yuki chose to believe in herself without hesitation, Shen Jie was somewhat touched. After thinking for a while, he replied. No need for the time being. If we really trigger the mysterious space, you can still lead people to find ways to catch us. Can't you say something auspicious? Deng Yuki sighed and immediately asked his assistant to arrange for the inspector to go to Tom's Mall. Deng Yuki had actually guessed that Shen Jie should have something or the ability to determine the location of strange things. Otherwise he would not encounter a strange event on average once a day. But as she said before, everyone has everyone's secrets. If she continues to explore it blindly, it is likely to push Shen Jie to the opposite side. Neither she nor the headquarters wanted to see the elite agents forced to overturn the table. Don't trust those who employ, and ignore those who doubt is Deng Yuqi's rule. Since she is willing to take Shen Zhe's risk to recruit him into the department, Deng Yuqi will naturally trust Shen Zhe before he does something harmful to society. What's more, as Deng Yuqi said, the occurrence rate of strange incidents is much lower than that of ordinary cases, so the Special Strategy Department is on standby most of the time. I was idle, and Deng Yuqi was not very relieved, so she asked Feng Chengshou and Huo Yu to bring a team of people to go to Tom's supermarket with the tester. Shen Zhe chose to contact Deng Yuqi directly, which was actually a bit confusing. After all, this invisible feature was very useful to him, and when paired with silent, it was an invincible combination. But the problem is that he cannot find the invisible position. Shen Zhe also tried to use immobile, strange space to create space distortion, but after several attempts, there was no sign of space distortion. The special energy detector of the Special Policy Department can best detect the invisible directly. According to the regulations of the Special Policy Department, he has the right to apply for the right to deal with the intangible. If the Special Policy Department is unwilling to fulfill this requirement, it remains to be seen whether the department will be notified if Shen Zhe encounters a strange character. The worst result is to overturn the table. However, just as Deng Yuqi believed in him, Shen Zhe also believed in the minister. For no other reason than when Huo Yu said that Deng Yuqi was afraid of the traffic jam affecting the rescue, and the figure of racing on a shared bicycle proved this. The minister is trustworthy. While waiting for the Special Policy Department, Shen Zhe squatted in the instant noodle section and looked through the ingredient list boredly. I don't know if I can summon the dragon by picking out all the brands of instant noodles on the shelf. What are you mumbling here? At this time, a familiar voice came to Shen Zhe's ears. Shen Zhe turned his head to one side, and the first thing that caught his eye was a pair of beautiful legs that Ma Xiaoling would say, "Draw your swords, legs," when she came. Black stockings, women's romance, men's longing. Oh no, this seems to be a pair of black bare legs artifact, but it's not important, it just looks like black stockings. Wearing an OL outfit, silver metal framed glasses, and long hair tied up. Oh, it's you. Shen Zhe raised his head slightly and was slightly surprised to see Cheng Shengnan. Cheng Shengnan raised his hand to adjust his glasses and took half a step back. If I weren't familiar with you, I could report you for peeping from this angle. Sorry, I just said these legs are a bit familiar. I was just thinking about whose legs they were. Shen Zhe stood up and said with a smile. Even though I know you are telling the truth, why does this sound wrong? Why are you here? Shen Zhe asked. Cheng Shengnan replied. You have resigned. Mr. Chen's plan needs someone to follow up. He is a big customer of the company. Some details need to be modified, so I can only make a trip in person. Stop by Tom's Mall to buy something. Oh, and you? There are some work matters to be dealt with. Shen Zhe said in a pretentious manner, reaching into his pocket as he spoke, preparing to take out his ID and make a MIB-style opening speech. Who would have thought that Cheng Shengnan frowned slightly when she heard this? She knew Shen Zhe's whereabouts after leaving her job. The work of the Special Policy Department also meant. I understand. Are you still getting used to the new working environment? Cheng Shengnan knew that Shen Zhe's work needed to be kept secret, so he didn't continue the conversation and casually asked him how he was doing recently. Shen Zhe. You understood? What do you understand? Continue to ask. If you don't ask me, how can I show off my work ID and say something like I protect this world, and the secrets of more than 90 years cannot be hidden? Sister, you don't play according to the routine, can you still let me pretend for once? At this moment, Deng Yuqi led a team to the scene. The manager of the supermarket department of the mall hurriedly walked down the escalator and waved to the supermarket staff. Today the Municipal Health Bureau is conducting a health inspection, please cooperate with us. Shen Zhe couldn't help but sigh after hearing this. Our identity is really flexible. Chapter 49. Wait for me. Deng Yuqi seemed a little surprised to see Cheng Shengnan appear here. Do you need me to avoid it, or leave directly? Cheng Shengnan was able to sit in her current position because she still had some foresight. Deng Yuqi said, no, we are here to check the hygiene, Miss Cheng. Just continue to do what you originally planned to do. Since it was not the weekend and it was noon, There were not many people in the supermarket. Deng Yuki had already deployed people to guard the surrounding area when he came in. Once any strange signs were found, Huo Yu would lead people to evacuate the people. Until then, there is no need to cause panic. Cheng Shengnan nodded when she heard this and walked away. The less she, an ordinary person, knew about confidential matters involving the mysterious and special policy department, the better. Seeing Cheng Shengnan leave, Deng Yuki asked Shen Jie about the situation here. Shen Jie erased the information in the system and briefly explained that he accidentally wandered here and felt that there was a strange feeling of being trapped in a strange car and a strange space. After Deng Yuki heard this, he arranged for people from the testing team to start checking hygiene. It was the first time for the staff in the supermarket to see someone bringing pesticide spraying equipment to check hygiene, and they immediately exclaimed in surprise. "What kind of high technology is that? I don't know, it looks quite high-end. Is it possible that the virus is being disinfected on the pretext of checking hygiene? Antivirus, it looks like spraying pesticide to me." Spraying pesticides? You idiot, this is a sanitation scanner. If your sanitation is up to standard, you will know with just one scan. Fortunately, a fast-talking person stopped in time, otherwise he would have to write a review again when he went back. As soon as Shen Jie heard this, he knew that Li Shang was coming. On the other side, Cheng Shengnan thought that he had already come, so he bought some seafood on the way back, so he came to the stall where Shen Jie bought fish. The uncle was leaning his head to see the spraying of pesticides at the entrance. When he saw a beautiful woman approaching, he immediately put on the standard smile of a waiter. "Beauty, do you want to buy some fish?" What kind of fish do you want to eat? Let me consider." The uncle enthusiastically introduced. "Nowadays, young people like to take care of their skin. Would you like to try our domestic deep-sea octopus? This kind of octopus is rich in protein and amino acids and can well supplement the nutrients needed by the body. The most important thing is yes, it's lower in fat." Cheng Shengnan's expression became a little subtle when he heard this. "Uncle, don't you think there is something wrong with your sales pitch? Domestic products and deep sea shouldn't go together, right?" Cheng Shengnan said it tactfully, but the uncle obviously understood and laughed. "Haha, beauty, this is because you are ignorant. You haven't paid attention to the recent agricultural survey, have you? Sichuan are rich in caviar, and Chongqing produces Australian dragons. Western Xinjiang salmon, it's just a deep-sea octopus, but you still can't get it out?" As he spoke, the uncle took a net and walked to the bathtub on the far left to fish it out. He fished out an octopus that was about the size of 2 fists and shrunk into a ball. Only the internal organs of octopus are prone to infection, so just remove them. Pay attention to cleaning when cooking. As long as it's clean and cooked, there's no problem. I think you, beauty, often work overtime and stay up late, and you have some dark circles under your eyes. Eat this kind of deep-sea octopus to replenish your skin. It's good for your skin and can also remove dark circles. Cheng Shengnan had no interest in it at first, but after Shen Jie left, she worked overtime for several days, and she did have dark circles under her eyes. When she heard that it could remove dark circles, she immediately became interested. "Then, let's have one." "Okay." The uncle enthusiastically helped Cheng Shengnan dispose of the octopus internal organs, cut them into pieces, pack them up, weigh them, and hand them to her. After Cheng Shengnan scanned the code, he picked up the bag and left. The uncle was happily cleaning the water around him, and suddenly noticed that there seemed to be one less octopus in the water tank. "Hey, why is there an octopus missing? Where did it go?" The uncle looked for it in the seafood area with a puzzled look on his face. "Minister, we've found something." Li Shang led the inspectors to scan the supermarket with a treacherous energy detector, and sure enough, they discovered the remnants of treacherous energy. A detector came forward to report. "We found residual energy in the supermarket's freezer, but this kind of energy is very strange. It can be detected by detection instruments, but cannot be seen with the naked eye. What's even weirder is that only the energy can be detected by the naked eye. No strange traces were found. Let's go and have a look." Deng Yuki and Shen Jie rushed to the cold storage to take a look. There were 2 testing personnel nearby conducting testing. "Report, there is only residual magic energy here, and there is no weirdness. Shen Jie went directly into the cold storage and looked through it, while Deng Yuki asked the inspector, "Can the location of the weirdness be judged from the signs of residual magic energy?" The inspector shook his head. At this time, Li Shang came over with a transparent glass bottle. "Minister, it's really magical. I tried to use equipment to collect some magic energy. I can ensure that this bottle contains the residual magic energy here, but it is different from the normal black fog state. It seems to be invisible. This is a major discovery." Deng Yuki suddenly felt a headache. The weirdness was already difficult to deal with, but this was an invisible weirdness. "Minister, after investigation, there are no signs of strange activities in the supermarket department." Before the other inspector finished speaking, Shen Jie walked out of the freezer holding a turbot frozen into fish cakes and handed the dried fish to an inspector. "Minister, wait for me here." Shen Jie ran towards the supermarket as he spoke, and then ran all the way out of Tom's Mall. The host broke into the 7th level strange lair alone, and escaped with no blood on his clothes. He is so brave and invincible. Reward system points x 100. Then, Shen Jie ran all the way back to the mall. But this time, from the escalator on the first floor to the cold storage room, Shen Jie didn't receive any prompt from the system. In other words, weirdness has left the supermarket. Thinking again of the turbot fish stored in the cold storage, Shen Jie's face darkened, and he immediately recalled that family of 3 also bought a turbot fish in the seafood area. Sure enough, according to the law of starting point, if there are descriptions of passers-by and lines, there will definitely be problems. "Minister, ask the manager to call the supermarket surveillance system and find a family of 3. The man is about 30 years old, with a shaggy face, and the woman is a standard southern potato, with a little girl of 4 or 5 years old. The time was about half an hour ago, when I was talking to you on the phone. I suspect Wei Yi was bought back by them by mistake." Shen Jie was so serious, and Deng Yuki immediately became serious. When Shen Jie, who had always been thinking about Thomas, became serious, it meant that the situation had indeed developed in a very serious direction. Deng Yuki immediately sent someone to find the supermarket manager and asked him to cooperate in the monitoring. 30 minutes later, Deng Yuki asked the logistics department of the special strategy department to retrieve information based on the surveillance footage and confirmed the address of the family of 3. Shen Jie and his group came to a community facing Tom Mall and knocked on the door of 24-1. Soon, Southern Little Potato opened the door with Little Potato in his arms. When the little girl saw Shen Jie standing at the door, she was surprised and said, "Ah, it's the uncle who is afraid of getting off the elevator." Shen Jie, "Little sister, listen to me and forget this outrageous label." "Hello, are you okay?" The little girl's mother suddenly became nervous when she saw Shen Jie, Deng Yuki, and several people in police uniforms behind her. Deng Yuki replied, "Hello, we are from the Municipal Health Bureau. The turbot you bought is a problematic batch, and we want to take it back for inspection. This has been cooked." The woman said awkwardly, "Cooked? Can we take a look?" Deng Yuki said, taking out his police officer and handing it to the woman, confirming his identity. "Please come in." Deng Yuki and others followed the woman into the house. After the woman explained to her husband the purpose of their visit, Li Shang immediately stepped forward with a deception detector and scanned it, then shook his head. "No problem." Shen Jie opened the lid of the pot on the stove and looked at the half-cooked turbot fish inside. This half-cooked turbot fish topped with soy sauce looks as if it has been irradiated. It is even weirder than weird. How can it be okay if it is so ugly? Shen Jie frowned slightly. Where did the invisible go? Cheng Shengnan opened the door with a large bag of things, walked directly to the kitchen, put the things on the cabinet table, washed his hands, and prepared to cook the octopus according to the method taught by the supermarket uncle. After taking the fruits, olive oil, paper towels and other items out of the bag, there was only a shriveled and sticky plastic bag with water stains. Wait a minute. Where is my octopus? A small detail modification has been made to the previous article, that is, the 3 hidden attributes, charm, luck, and perception, have been deleted. The original design was to play some jokes on these 3 points, so that everyone can smile knowingly after reading it. Later I found that there were 50 chapters, and there were very few opportunities to use it. Besides, with Markov probability in front, it didn't matter whether I was lucky or not. There is also the issue of attribute percentage. I can say with certainty that this is a foreshadowing and not a failure. There is no need for you to dwell on this, not to mention that I have already given clear clues in the first chapter. P.S. Even if I put aside the setting of foreshadowing, I gave the standard of 100% for a normal adult male, so 1000% is only 10 times the human body's function. I don't understand why so many people are struggling with this issue. Chapter 50. Jar of treachery. At this time, the phone rang. Cheng Shengnan, who was still wondering, where did my octopus go, took out his phone and took a look and found that it was Shen Jie calling. Shen Jie and his party rushed to the little girl's house. Deng Yuki immediately contacted the information department to investigate the customers who appeared in Tom's supermarket during that time. Before the detection department conducted the test of Wei Yi's energy, neither Shen Jie nor Deng Yuki expected Wei Yi to run away directly. Especially Shen Jie. Didn't the system say this was the strange lair of level 7? He didn't run for more than a week from the time he activated the system to today. But why did he run today? According to Shen Jie's inference, the strangeness left from the time he entered the supermarket on the negative floor to when Deng Yuki led the team. In addition, as soon as the detection department detected the strange energy, Deng Yuki immediately had the staff evacuate and Liao. There were not many customers, so the scope of the investigation was narrowed. Hello, Shen Jie? Cheng Shengnan answered the phone. Shen Jie asked straight to the point. Did you buy anything in the aquatic product area of Tom's supermarket? I bought an octopus, but it's gone now. The waiter at the aquatic area had obviously killed it and packed it for me, but when he came back there was only an empty bag, Cheng Shengnan replied. Where are you? Shen Jie frowned slightly. The slaughtered octopus disappeared. Was it lost on the way, or was it a lucky coincidence? Cheng Shengnan replied. I just got home. Go to the street immediately, preferably to an open area. Where do you live? Shen Jie said immediately and asked for the detailed address. Okay. Cheng Shengnan walked out of the kitchen quickly, picked up the handbag on the table, and walked towards the entrance while telling Shen Jie his home address. After learning that Shen Jie was now a member of the Special Policy Department and was investigating strange incidents at Tom's supermarket, Cheng Shengnan guessed that he had a high probability of winning, so he decisively chose to cooperate. Shen Jie reported the address of Cheng Shengnan's home to Deng Yuki, feeling that it was easy to talk to smart people. At this time, Cheng Shengnan would not ask questions such as, why do you want to go to the street? Why do you want my home address? Let alone I won't leave until you explain clearly. Chen Jie. Suddenly, Cheng Shengnan's slightly anxious voice came from the phone. My door is gone. Where it used to be the door, now the whole door is gone. But there seems to be an invisible side of the door. The wall is blocking me. I can't get out now. Stay back and stay away from that door. Don't do anything unnecessary. Keep the call on the phone. If you see anything wrong, tell me immediately. We are on our way, Shen Jie replied. Good. After Shen Jie and Deng Yuki explained the situation, they were able to confirm that the strange thing was Cheng Shengnan's because of the disappearance of the door, so the group immediately drove there. On the way, Cheng Shengnan said on the phone, Chen Jie, now centered on the door, the entire wall has disappeared. I can even see my neighbor in the corridor, and he can also see me. He seems to have encountered the same thing. He was gesturing to me, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. Shen Jie replied. If you have his contact information, send a text message and call him to ask him to stay where he is. Try not to get close to the place where he disappeared. Good. Shen Jie has been on the phone with Cheng Shengnan and told her some things to pay attention to. With Cheng Shengnan's brains able to sit in the position of branch boss, I believe she will not do anything stupid. Deng Yuki continued to issue orders to various departments in the ministry. Now that the existence of the weird has been confirmed, it is natural to make arrangements to prepare for the war. Cheng Shengnan's home is located in Shijiang district, which is closer to the Special Policy Department. In addition, it is not the morning and evening rush hour, so the people from the Special Policy Department arrived earlier than Shen Jie and his party. When Shen Jie arrived, people from the operations department, led by the captain of Team 2, had already evacuated the people and sealed off the scene. At this time, many people gathered on the street to watch the excitement, and some even took out their mobile phones to take pictures of the interior of the high-end community. Shen Jie looked at the community and noticed that there were a total of 5 high-rise residential buildings, and the middle one disappeared from the middle to the top floor, as if it had been made transparent. Visually, a strange space has been formed, at least level 2 and above. Huo Yu led the team to blockade the community and asked people to move the citizens to a safe area. Li Shang notified the technical department to prepare to block signals outside the community and only allow dedicated lines to be connected. Let the logistics department and information department handle the videos shot by citizens, and the public relations department drafts a draft claiming that this is an exercise. Deng Yuki quickly issued instructions and walked towards the gate of the community. Receive. Clear. When they arrived at the gate of the community, an explosion-proof vehicle from the Special Policy Department was parked at the door. Deng Yuki asked Shen Jie to get in the car with her, and then closed the door. Currently, there are only 2 of us elite agents in the ministry, so this operation is led by you and me. This combat uniform is made of specially made materials. It is the same as the one issued to you. It can prevent fire and stabbing to a certain extent. This is specially made. The bulletproof vest can not only block bullets, but also reduce the impact of explosions and impact damage. Deng Yuki said as she took off her jacket and shirt and put on a black combat uniform. What are you doing standing around? Change into combat uniforms. This is the condition on the battlefield. You won't wait until I finish changing and go out before you change again, right? Deng Yuki is not pretentious, and Shen Jie is not so pretentious. What's more, it's just changing the outer clothes, not completely stripping off. Shen Jie was only slightly stunned at first, and then immediately started to put on combat equipment. After changing clothes, Deng Yuki pulled out a black suitcase and opened it. Inside was a pair of black sneaky gloves. According to the agreement, these things are now at your disposal. After pushing the suitcase to Shen Jie, Deng Yuki took out 2 freezing devices and a fist-sized black jar from the corner. This is a freezing device, you have seen it before. According to the standard of level 1 weirdness, the freezing gas ejected can freeze the target for 1 to 3 seconds every 5% to 10%. The black jar is called a treacherous energy jar, which is made from level 1 weird corpses. It can be used to charge consumable treacherous energy equipment such as freezing devices. Open this connector, insert it into the interface on the side of the freezing device, and press the switch to charge. Deng Yuki said in a deep voice. This time I made a mistake in judgment. Originally, your equipment training was scheduled for 2 days later, but I ignored your special physique that you encounter magic every day. Otherwise, I should have arranged equipment training for you earlier. Shen Jie followed Deng Yuki's instructions and hung the freezing device on the back shoulder of the combat uniform. It felt like a flying device. There are safety buckles on both sides. If the freezing device is broken, to prevent yourself from frostbite, you can quickly escape by pressing the safety buckle. Shen Jie picked up a fist-sized Coke can and asked, how much can be filled in such a small can? Deng Yuki explained. Even though it is small, because it is made of level 1 weird corpses, the reserve of weird energy is more than the weird energy in a can of your freezing device. We usually use the total amount of weird energy of level 1 weirdness as the basis. Generally, the weird energy of level 1 weirdness is just enough to fill a tank. The error is only 1% to 3% at most. Whether it is a weird mouse or a weird cat you meet, as level 1 weirdos, even though they are very different in size, in fact they all have almost the same amount of weird energy. This is why the headquarters will uniformly identify the weirdness without a weird space as level 1 weirdness. Their combat capabilities are different, but the amount of weird energy is not different. The weird energy of level 2 is more than twice that of level 1. It can fill more than 2.5 cans, and the weird energy content is between 231% and 278%. The span of level 3 is larger. At least it can fill 6 deception jars, which is a starting point of 600%. Further up. The branch has not encountered level 4 weirdness so far. Deng Yuki explained the effect of the canister to Shen Jie, but she saw Shen Jie staring at the can in his hand in a daze and asked doubtfully. Hey, it's quite simple. I usually see you being quite smart, didn't you understand?